Welcome back to the second episode of the 15-Minute Leader. My goal with this is to look at unique people leading in unique spaces, and today I'm fired up because I've got my friend Sam Fisher, the owner of Throw to Win. Coach, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yes, sir. My name is Sam Fisher, aka Coach Fish. I live in Los Angeles in the San Fernando Valley. I have owned and been a QB trainer of Throw to Win quarterback development for just over a decade. I trained with mostly high school and collegiate athletes. It has been an absolute joy and pleasure. And in this never ending evolution of college recruiting and football in general, it's been a roller coaster and keeps you on your toes. So happy to be here. Happy to be involved in your son Talas's journey. He's a heck of a kid. First and foremost, a great person. You guys are doing a great job with him, and he loves ball, which is a joy to coach around when you know the guys that you train love football and are all in. So it's been great to be involved at this point.
Coach, speaking of that, why don't you go ahead and share the origin story of Throw to Win and what really drew you to working with quarterbacks in the LA region?
I'm from Fresno, California originally. So right dab in the middle of California. I moved to Los Angeles to pursue the acting journey. Wanted to be a Hollywood man. Wanted to get out of the Fresno scene and go get my creativity on. Always did acting. Was a comedic guy. Did a lot of plays as an athlete growing up. But when my early 20s hit, it was something that I just felt I wanted to do. So I got down to LA, and the first 3 years was survival mode and a lot of waiting tables, odd jobs. That's a whole other podcast of just odd jobs and how I was able to pay rent from month to month. But it became clear to me, especially when I met my wife, who was actually a working actor, and I would get on set from time to time, and every once in a while I'd be able to pay my own rent doing acting, but it's an extremely trying job to try to do full time. And there's a lot of things I probably would have done differently as an actor, just how I would have forecasted and planned my strategy going into Hollywood. But no regrets. But meeting my wife and getting married, I had to do more as far as, hey, I got to provide, and my instincts as a provider, biblically also kicked in, where it's like I've got to kind of put my dreams on hold, and I gotta make money because I want to leave my wife in this, and I don't want to be the actor who's working from time to time auditioning and waiting tables into my 30s. Um, so I started coaching at Notre Dame High School, which is a private football program. It's a notorious, like a very strong football program historically, and there's been some big names that have come out of there. And I was able to be on staff as a quarterback coach there. I played quarterback in high school. Just context. I played a lot of quarterback. Played football since I was 10 years old. Tackle football. Played quarterback from 8th grade into my senior year. Ran a lot of triple option. Was one of the first quarterbacks in the Central Valley to run a spread offense, early 2000s, where no one was even in shotgun, and they allowed me to do it because I could run and throw, and it was a fun offense at that time. Looking back at it, it was actually way before its time. So I was able to get on Notre Dame staff and was there for 3 years coaching quarterbacks, and I just fell in love with it all over again. And they were gracious enough to allow me to start training quarterbacks at their facility. It's a beautiful facility. And I started training quarterbacks, made a business card. This is when business cards, you were handing them out. Mid 2000s, where actually people still looked at cards, not on websites or Instagram, and putting just something out there, just putting Throw to Win on a card and making it a real tangible thing, put some life into the world and into the dream. And God opened up doors where even while I was waiting tables and segueing from restaurants into coaching, clientele had sons that wanted to get training, and it started from there. And then it started from word of mouth. And then 2 or 3 years at Notre Dame, people knew that was the hub of where I trained in the Valley. And It just I got pretty good at social media. I learned how to put my content out there, and this was early in the social media days where people Instagram wasn't, there weren't a billion trainers online. So a lot of it was timing, a lot of it was hustle, and most of it was just God opening up doors and green lighting a lot of opportunities. And been doing it full time. It's a little different now, kind of with how I put more my time into recruiting and help with colleges and getting my guys exposure. But I still train daily, and it's what I do full time. Was never on my bingo card, but 3 kids later, a mortgage and a family. This is where I'm at.
Wow, I didn't know all that history, dude. I love that story. And I love it too when God makes it obvious. Like, hey, I didn't plan on doing this, but you keep opening doors. I think I'm going to stick around here. How do you identify and nurture potential in young quarterbacks who train with you?
I think when someone has a desire to learn, you see it. It's a visual in the eyes, in the body language. Your son's one of those kids where like you can, and you're a teacher, Garrett. Like when someone is hungry and you feel that desire of knowledge and information, it's a lot easier for me to pour into myself when I know that they are accepting it with hunger. And there's a lot of kids that are good players, but there's dads that want it more than they do. And I wouldn't go out and just say that, but it after a long enough time, who's this for? Who wants this and why do they want this? And how are they going to be able to sustain the peaks and valleys of this quarterback journey? Because there will be peaks and valleys, whether you don't start one year, whether you get injured, whether you don't end up at the school you thought you were going to end up at. How do you continue to climb through consistency and hard work? And through the years of seeing guys that have made it to the top, they've got their journeys and battle wounds, and the grit has been part of who their makeup is. But it all started with their desire and want of information. They ask a lot of questions. They're never satisfied. They are inquisitive, and they just have a joy for ball.
What's a leadership trait that you've seen in coaching young men that you think could apply to any area of life?
I think humility. That's something that I am getting very familiar with as I get older as a parent and as a husband. So I think humility is so important as a leader because it is such an attractive trait when you are a leader and God's given you that leadership gift to humble yourself and to serve in your own gifts. I think is such an attractive way of um, growing other leaders. If I can apologize to my kid for messing up or getting on them for something that losing my anger, I can apologize to my wife for being a jerk. I can apologize to my kids or client that I train, like, hey, that's on me. I shouldn't have. I've apologized for lashing out to my own clients over the years where I'm like, I shouldn't have said that. I've got a kind of a sharp tongue, and I've God's had to polish that over the years. So humility, I think, has gotten me closer with my own kids that I train because it shows that they can be safe with me. We're broken. We can also get after it and be aggressive and masculine and hey, we want to be in attack mode all the time, but we also know we're going to mess up a lot of the time. I think humility is just a formula for growth in so many different areas, but mostly as a leader.
I love that. Humility is a formula for growth in any area for any leader. Okay, coach, we're going to take it back to some quarterback stuff now. Can you share a success story of how you helped get a kid to a Division I program and how they're excelling now?
Yeah, I've got a very fun success story. Now, this kid isn't my kid that I've trained, but I helped this kid before anyone else knew who he was. And this kid is now a household name. So in 2020, COVID year, one of the kids that I do train, who was a heck of a quarterback, went to Arizona State. His name was Finn Collins. Modern Day High School was looking to replace Bryce Young. They loved Finn. Came off a huge junior year. They had him come down to train with the quarterback coach of Modern Day. Now, the quarterback coach of Modern Day is Taylor Kelly, who now runs 3D QB out in Huntington Beach, California. does a great job, mostly with college, high school. I mean, professional combine prep, pro day prep. Um, so Finn went down there to train with him. I went down there with his dad. Finn was training with this other guy, big kid, blonde hair, long blonde hair, and this kid was slinging it. And I was obviously there to support Finn, but I couldn't stop looking at this kid. They were just going throw for throw, and Finn can sling it. And this kid was like, I hadn't seen anyone keep up with Finn's arm and the way this kid was doing, but this kid was also doing some just consistency, his footwork, his fluidity. And I ended up meeting his dad there. I introduced myself and I said, "Hey, how you doing?" He goes, "Hi, I'm Brandon Dart. This is my son, Jackson Dart." And I go, "Man, where's he from?" He goes, "Well, we're at a Brighton High School in Utah. Well, not Brighton High School, Cornerstone or Cornerstone Canyon, something along those lines, something Canyon. I forget the high school. I apologize. I can find that." But he goes, "No one knows who he is. No one's recruited him. He has no offers." And I looked at Brandon. I go, this kid's a dude. He's a P4 kid without a doubt. And I helped him with his recruiting. And I have messages on Twitter that I won't blast, but I have it for my own just keepsake where coaches are. I'm sending them Jackson Dart's tape, and they're like, "I don't like him. I don't like how the ball comes out. I don't like his footwork. He doesn't have a big enough arm." And it just so happens that year, because of COVID, the state of Utah was one of the only high schools or one of the only states that were allowing high school seasons to continue. And Jackson had a monster senior year. And it's what opened the gate to USC to offer him. So it all ended up like the right eyes were able to get on him. But I remember getting him his first offer, I think was at San Jose State, and just really advocating for a kid, knowing that I knew what I knew, and just knowing that this is a subjective business, but also like this kid's a dude. And if you're missing out, something's wrong with you. And the vindication now that he's second off the board from the draft this year, playing at New York for the Giants and having his career, and being able to shoot him a text and congratulate him. We'll always have a relationship, and it's something special where I don't train the kid as a quarterback trainer, but being involved in his journey and seeing someone go from zero to hero and being a little bit involved with that has always been just a chuckle. I've been around long enough where it's like, yeah, I see guys miss, but this one was a good one.
That was a good one for sure. Coach, I think you just touched on something. You observed qualities in Jackson before other people's really acknowledged the gifting that he had. And I just wanted to tell you that when you see those things on kids and when you call out the gold in somebody, I think that you were able to allow Jackson to maybe believe in himself a little bit more. Like you always have this belief in yourself when you're that dude, but it means a whole lot when someone else sees it in you and calls it out. How do you adapt your coaching style to meet the different skill sets that each quarterback possesses?
I think what I've told parents and coaches over the years is every quarterback has their own unique problem to solve. Whether that's an upper body mechanical issue, whether that's a footwork issue, whether it's a mind issue, whether it's something as simple as, with Tallis, we opened up his hip and he was able to get around the corner on some things, So it's really important. It's really, really important to not put your own coaching in a box and put quarterbacks in a box, because everybody does something a little different. Someone does something a little stronger. Someone does something a little, weaker. And we got to expose the weaknesses, lean into that, make those the strengths. And when we can attack that, that's when you really start seeing growth, exponential growth.
And so, guys, I really hope you enjoyed that talk with Coach Fish. I'll drop his Instagram and Twitter handles down below in the video here. But man, Coach, thank you so much for your time. I learned a lot, and I hope that everybody watching this call learns a lot as well.